Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure,
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
This week, we look at Monticello, Florida, where the murder of a tourist sends the whole state into a panic. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Everybody, welcome back to Small Town Murder. Yay! My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
We're excited this week for this. This is good stuff. We're very excited. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for the iTunes reviews this week. Again, you guys are coming through so much for us on the iTunes reviews, and that's really what we ask, is just please, if you could, give us 5 stars. Tell us whatever you want. Tell us, I like asparagus. We don't care.
Another week on the fucking charts.
It's
amazing.
Great. We're so thankful to you guys for that, and we're going to keep working our asses off here to hope that you guys want to keep giving us reviews and keep listening. So
keep us on the charts.
We are excited. Hope you enjoyed last week's Insanity, of course, the Kaler fella there with his...
Hell?
Oh, my God. The grandma.
Yeah.
Even the kids are horrible, and I felt so bad, with the... But the grandma, you kill an 89-year-old woman in her own home.
Terrible.
In a small town. It's just this disturbing.
That's what happens, fellas. Stop pressuring your wives for threesomes. Just stop it.
Stop. Don't do it.
Don't.
No, if you have a wife, don't ask her for a threesome.
Just enjoy what you got.
Yes, exactly.
And if you don't enjoy it, get out.
That's it.
Go away.
That's all you have to do. But
don't
be finding chicks down at the gym to try to hook your wife up with a threesome, because what ends up happening, she becomes a lesbian, leaves you, and you have to kill the entire family, and nobody wants that.
She realizes she doesn't want to put up with somebody that pressures her into having sex with multiple people. She'd rather just be with one person.
Why not? It was probably much nicer to her, I would say. That was the other thing. So,
I have to assume.
I would think so, but tonight... We are in another place. Yeah. We're in another place. Last week we were in Kansas, hanging out in Kansas, going to the whatever they had there, the VFW parade.
Dry fields.
The dry fields. This week we are in Monticello, Florida.
Ah, the swamp.
Now, you had to think about it this way. I know everybody knows that a hacky joke is just Florida sucks. That's a hacky joke.
Right.
But it is a hacky joke, and jokes
for
become
a reason.
Jokes become hacky jokes.
Right.
For a reason.
Right.
Stereotypes are usually, there is some seed of truth in them. Right. That's the point. You know what I mean?
That's why they're funny.
That's
it's funny
why they're funny.
It's true.
Exactly.
Right.
So this is no exception. And it's funny that you would think within the first 3 episodes we would have hit a Florida. Because it's like anything where you're dealing with insanity.
Took us 10.
Took us 10 to get to Florida. Because I'm trying to go all around the country and hit different spots.
That lets you know that Florida's not the only ruined place.
No, God.
America is a mess.
That's the thing. You can think that Florida's the bad, Florida's the problem. It's not the problem.
No.
Everywhere's the problem.
problem.
We're discovering that.
Yeah.
It's every single place there is. But we're in Monticello, Florida tonight. Monticello, Florida is it's like northern on the panhandle, like middle of the panhandle.
In the Gulf.
Yes, exactly. It's in Jefferson County, which is on the border of Georgia. Mm-hmm. So it's not the water side of the panhandle. It is the top side.
The land side.
The land side, the humid, just shit.
Wish they were on the beach.
Swamp side. Yeah, that is bad stuff here. Yeah. It's farmland mainly. We'll get into this here. Zip code 32344, area code 850. Like I said, it's on the Georgia border there. It's close to, only thing it's really close to is Tallahassee. It's 35 minutes to Tallahassee.
That's the capital, right?
That is the capital, yes. 3.5 hours to Orlando. So Disneyland is pretty much out of the question. Yeah. You can fly there for most parts of the country faster. 4 hours to Atlanta, so it's not that close. You figure it's on Georgia. It's even 3 hours to Pensacola.
It's remote.
It is very remote, this place. It's a remote place with farmland. The only reason, well, now that people still live there, the I-10 goes about 5 miles south of town. The I-10 highway, which goes all the way from California to Jacksonville, Florida, coast to coast.
So it's like Radiator Springs?
It's Radiator Springs, pretty much.
The freeway was built, and now this town sucks.
Well, yeah, now it sucks. Well, because then it's become a mess since then. It didn't start out that way, as we'll get into. First of all, too, we're very low to sea level in Florida. Every other state's like every other city we've covered, it's like 1,000 feet. Yeah. We're 233 feet above sea level here. So this is some serious, flat on the swamp, basically. Yeah. Any slight wave and that whole state's going to go under. I swear to God. Anything. If the earth shakes over there a little bit, it's going under. That's all there is to it.
You can find the water table pretty easy.
Pretty
Drilling
damn easy.
Drilling a well ain't so tough.
No, God, no. Simple. Simple. You just need a stick. Yeah. Like, there it is. Found it. All right, then. Oh, it's salty. Shit. Yeah. Move on. Like I said, elevation 233. 3.4 square miles. So it's a pretty small town in terms of area. The climate is it's hot and sticky and awful down there. It's, warm in the winter. I looked up the weather, like right now they're in the 60s, which is nice, but then the average temperature is like 94 every day in the summer.
Jesus.
And humid and nasty.
Terrible.
Not a place you want to really hang out and be. The history of this place. As of 1850, there were only 320 people living in Monticello. Mm-hmm. That was then. By 1860, there was 1,000.
Oh.
I'll give you a guess what happened.
Oil?
Railroad.
Right.
Railroad creates towns.
I have no idea what industry is in America.
Pretty much. That's great.
That was a terrible guess.
That wasn't bad. Oil. There's no oil down there. We just said there's water under the ground.
It's 200 feet above sea level.
You'll find oil there.
Jesus.
So anyway, it's there's oil in Louisiana. So, that's sort of close. The panhandle.
Still a terrible guess.
Not a great guess. The railroad. Any state we have, any city, any place we have that's not like on the East Coast connected to the Atlantic Ocean, it's because it's there because of the railroad, basically. Like nothing happened, railroad came, all of a sudden people came. Hey, there we are.
I just realized why people give dumb guesses on fucking game shows, though, because that was just like on the spot, blurt something out.
You're like, about oil.
Where's the weirdest place to have sex? In the butt. Like those stupid things.
Yeah, the old newlywed.
Right.
Yeah. Unreal.
So stupid.
So stupid.
And then you look at yourself and you just go, I'm a fucking idiot. How do I have anything in my life at all?
Yeah, where did that come from?
How do I pay?
I should be homeless.
How do I pay a car payment with that kind of knowledge?
Luckily they don't ask you quickly on the spot how cities were formed.
Yeah,
Jimmy, you can either pay $328 or quickly, how was Yakima, Washington formed? Why? What happened?
Oil.
Wrong. $328, please.
Every goddamn time I just hit oil.
Oil. Fuck it. Damn it.
I swear to God, I hope it's a question about Texas.
Yes, in Texas or Oklahoma, maybe. Unbelievable. The county, Jefferson County here that we're in, is formed in 1827. Everything here is after Thomas Jefferson. They're really into Thomas Jefferson. It's Jefferson County, named after Thomas Jefferson. The city, Monticello, is named after Thomas Jefferson's home, Monticello. But it's Florida, so they can't pronounce it properly. It's Monticello. So that's what happens there. That's when white trash interprets French words. That's what you get.
When white trash tries to refine itself.
Exactly. And yes, Florida, the panhandle of Florida.
There's a lot of white trash.
I don't care if you live there, you love it, it's great. Look to your left, look to your right. You're going to see some white trash. I'm just telling you right now.
My dad is from Jacksonville.
There you go.
It's not far away.
Nope,
he will tell you proudly, I am white trash.
That's what I mean. There's a reference in here later to Panama City, and I went, now if you ask me quick on the spot, like, how is that town formed? White trashiest city in the country. I go, Panama City, Florida. That would be the first thing that comes out. So I'm glad that it's that guy. We're going to get some hate shit over this.
Whatever.
It's okay. I'm the one saying it's shit. At Jimmy P is funny. Bury me. Go ahead. It's fine. And defend Florida. Knock yourself out.
I was the quintessential dirty white kid in the trailer park. We were white trash. I'll make fun of white trash all day long.
Yes, that's right. I can make fun of Italians. You make fun of white trash all you want.
We got it.
We've suffered through it.
We got the white market cornered. Let's go.
That's it, man. So basically, this place was cotton fields at this point. 1860s, 1850s, when the railroad came, then you could grow cotton because then you could take the cotton away on the railroad. Yeah. So that's how it worked there. Like, okay, they cleared everything out. People came in, cleared out the forest, cleared out shit. We're growing cotton everywhere. Flatten this shit out to the ground. But the prices fluctuated in cotton. That's the thing, because the prices would go up, they go down, depending on weather, depending on this and that. Yeah. So they needed something a little more steady. Like, we need an identity. Everywhere's got cotton. This is the South. I mean, it's all cotton, basically, at this point. So what do they find?
Citrus.
They find watermelons.
Watermelon, yeah.
Watermelons.
Fruits.
Oil.
You're damn right.
Oil.
Pink oil.
Pink oil. So, yes, in 1882, William Siradu brought the first shipment of watermelon seeds to the region. That was not easy to find. By the 1920s, Jefferson County produced 80% of the world's watermelons.
Is that right?
So every watermelon up to night that came from there.
80%.
80%.
That's a huge number.
If you were eating a watermelon in the U.S., it's from this dumpy shithole here. It's actually kind of a cool historic town in certain aspects, as much as you can. As much as you can see, this is the thing. Like, I love history and I love culture, and I like when you drive through the South, they have a lot of old shit. But half of it, you have to kind of go, oh yeah, it's cool and it's historic, but it's not really celebrating a time that I really want to remember, type of thing. It's like, oh, you owned people, and it's a beautiful plantation house. I'm sure many slaves died there, so it's very difficult.
You guys grew 80% of the world's watermelon. That's amazing. Oh, you forced people to cultivate it. That's
forced
nice.
people. Well, the 1880s, they were sharecropping at that point, which is still forced. Same thing. So historically, the courthouse was built in 1908, and they still have it there. It's still there. They crazy built this thing really well. They used 1 foot thick concrete interior walls.
Amazing.
It's really built like it's a marvel, this thing. Yeah. They modernized it for heating and cooling in 1968, but it's all still very original. The judge's bench and the jury box and a bunch of other furniture in the courtroom are still original oak from 1908, which is pretty damn cool. It's also known as the most haunted small town in America. By ABC News. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's an official news. They discovered this, but it's most haunted small town, especially the Jefferson County Correctional Facility. The prison is said to be insanely haunted. Like, all the guards, the prisoners, everybody says it. Like, oh, no, you turn around, they'll be dancing ghost children around.
That's
like,
crazy.
Literally, they're talking about guys, mopping the floor, and they hear kids laughing, and they turn around. There's like 4 kids playing tag there. And everybody sees it, and then they're gone. Like, all the guards, everybody. It's like, oh, yeah, no, there's tons of ghosts.
Oh, there's shit here.
They're all assuming that it's like the victims of the people in there and stuff like that too, is like the main superstition
terrible.
Down there. Yeah, it sounds frightening down there. It's this old ass jail where God knows what happens down there.
So you beat the shit out of your cellmate for making him see shit.
That's it, right?
He did it. It's his fault.
That's right. You made those kids come. You made them
Why'd you kill him, you asshole?
I was trying to mop.
Now they're fucking with me. I'm just trying to clean up the shit.
I'm mopping these fucking kids you killed. Thanks a lot,
I'm cleaning up
asshole.
the riot that you caused yesterday,
you
too.
Jerk. So on the town site, they're very proud of their town. It's called, their motto is, quote, the heart of natural North Florida, which is a goddamn awful town motto. The heart of natural North Florida. Sure.
I guess that's as opposed to not natural, like
it's phony.
As opposed to the phony part in Miami.
Their little description of their own town on their site is, quote, small town values, guided growth, preservation of historical, cultural, and natural heritage are just a few of the core principles that make the city of Monticello a wonderful place to call home.
Sounds like it.
It's fantastic.
Apart from that haunted fucking prison.
Yeah, and also, too, they are looking for a job opening for a police officer, just one, one police officer, and a water specialist, 2. I don't know what that is, but if you know anything about water and you live in Florida, get on up to Monticello. They're looking. There's not a lot of people there is why there's jobs. Population 2,411.
Wow.
Not a lot.
No.
Been dropping since the 90s. It's down 6.3% since 2000. So people are kind of filtering out of there. Median age there is older than normal. It's 44.2.
Okay.
Median normal is about 37.5. So they're a little older crowd. All of the age groups from 0 to 34 are lower than the national average in people.
That's fascinating.
All those age groups. It's all older people. And then all of the age groups above, like 35 and above, are all above average, which makes sense. I mean, it's...
that's generally how it's been in most of the towns, too, is that everybody kind of...
Older people. Yeah, it's
older
an older...
people move there. They're tired of the city life, or they're just... fucking don't get out at all.
Yeah, we've had one or two with the town being, the younger skewing town for some reason. It's a lot of times it's a town where people just started moving there, kind of a thing. Yeah. It's that sort of thing. But here, we're not getting that.
Like hipster gentrification of a small town.
Yeah, exactly. They're coming in, they're putting up antique shops everywhere. Watch out. Telling you. So every group, like I said, over 35, many more 60-plus people. That's the big one. Almost twice the average of people that are single with no kids. I assume old would be that.
Must be.
It's got to be the old people. Twice the amount of divorced people than as average.
Really?
Yeah, 20% are divorced, 10% average. So that's very odd.
Interesting.
Twice the amount of widows. Again, old. So we're dealing with old people that maybe started. They were farming watermelons and now they're not anymore, and then they're just relaxing. The way the race breaks down: 45.74% white. So this is the first town we've had that's less than half white.
Yeah.
It's a 62% average. 49.39% black.
Wow.
12.24% average. All these southern towns, a lot of them are very racially diverse. Because
and in Florida,
obviously.
too. Florida has some... Florida has a high population of black people there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Florida's a very diverse state when it comes to race.
Cool.
0.0% Asian, obviously. 5% is the average. Almost 5% Hispanic. About 16.9% is average. So, not that many Hispanics there, I guess. They're slowly getting over to that region. Now, the religious thing here, there's 62% religious, which is well above the 49% average.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Last week in Kansas, we only had 40%.
Yeah.
Big swing here. Only like 2% Catholic, 7% Pentecostal.
There's a lot of that Baptist shit in it.
And then we get into 25% Methodist and 23% Baptist.
You betcha.
Some fire and brimstone shit down there, man. This is you go to church, you come home scared down there.
It's not necessarily, like in a lot of churches that are just Christian churches, it's a message of how to be a good person. This one is like lecturing you about being a piece of shit.
They sit you down and you go, you watch your fucking ass, and then you leave. That's it. And you put some money in and you go home. That's
you
it.
You look in your rear view the whole way home.
Yeah, is that God back there? Shit. I knew they're coming for me. Jesus is pissed. I heard he's pissed. I don't know. Now, 0.0% Jewish, 0.0% Muslim. Not surprising in a small southern town.
Yep.
51% Democrats, 48% Republican.
Is that right?
Which is, Florida's a weird place, man. It's a weird place. They're very contrary.
You never know with them.
They're very contrary.
They're very contradictory, too.
Yeah, both of those
How
things.
About that
yes,
word?
Contrary and contradictory. Yeah. I'm telling you right now. Jobs, unemployment is exactly at the national average. Household income, little less than normal. It's $40,000. It's about $53,000 is the average. All the groups basically between $0 and $75,000 a year are above average. Okay. Most people, 35% of the people make between $20 and $50,000 a year. Okay. So it's a blue collar area basically, but not completely. 2% make more than $150,000 a year, which is 10% the usual average. Yep. This is an area of haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
There's people that have beautiful homes and they're stately and this sort of thing, and then there's people who live in utter
squalor.
Basically, that's what it is. It's hardcore haves and have-nots. This is not a town of everybody's kind of equal. Like that town in Ohio, everybody was kind of nice. That Eaton, Ohio, we did that sort of. This is not that at all. The jobs, there's actually some farming jobs and fishing jobs there, which is about twice the average of that. Twice the healthcare jobs there, which
you're really driving inland quite. That's a hell of a commute to go be a fucking shrimper.
I don't know, a bunch of lakes maybe. Who the hell knows? Somebody poked a hole in the ground and they said, "Now we got motion now.
Pull the shrimp.
Pull the shrimp out. Come on before it closes up." Like I said, old, so twice the healthcare jobs, 4 times the social service jobs because, like I said, haves and have-nots.
Right.
There's a lot of people that need social services. Right. Cost of living there is 84 out of 100. So 100 being the average cost of living, 84 here. Utilities are slightly less. Groceries are slightly more. Housing is low. Housing is 48 out of 100. So it's half. That's not bad at all. 50% of the houses are between $100,000 and $200,000. Median home price is $90,000.
How about that?
$185,000 is the average, so not bad at all. Not a ton of high-end housing, though. There's some, and then it's mainly
makes sense.
Pretty low-end. And if you're looking for something in the Monticello area, maybe you're a water specialist too, or you're going to be that police officer, we have the Monticello Real Estate Report for you right now. You can get, first of all, if you want a 2-bedroom apartment, $680 is the average there.
That seems fair.
That's fair. $1,027 is average, so, whatever. Now, if you want a little house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,216 square foot, which is a decent size. It looks like a trailer. I'm not going to lie to you.
It probably is.
It looks like a trailer with siding on it. It's not great. It says it's a home, but it's not. It looks like a trailer that's been bolted to the ground. You're like, it's a house now. No, it's not. $75,000 for that bad boy.
Wow.
Not bad. Now, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,350 square foot house that looks like an actual home that was built on a foundation and not dragged there and bolted to the earth is $149,000.
That's solid.
And if you want to go crazy, if you're one of these rich people down there, you're one of the haves, 5-bedroom, 5-bath, 4,400 square feet on a beautiful sweeping lawn, the grounds.
Yeah.
$425,000.
Something terrible happened in that house,
too. You just know it. You know they did. Oh, God. Anything that's been built in the South pre-1950, bad things have happened.
No doubt.
Town is having problems money-wise, as we'll get into. That this ties into our case big time here. In 2008, I found on a message board, I really went hardcore on this. Someone posted, they live in the town, and they posted in the town how bad the town has gotten and how broke the town is, that they cannot afford anything. The poster that posted this said that they recently had to lay off the lunch lady at the middle school because they couldn't afford her.
What?
They can't afford the lady in a hairnet slopping out spoonfuls of sloppy Joe.
So
that's
they got
a problem.
somebody working double shifts doing something and then filling in on the lunch line, too?
They probably have kids back there. They probably
just have janitor that just wrangled the shit out of the toilet and then he's going to go serve you a sloppy Joe.
That's probably what poor kids have to do for their free lunch. Put some gloves on back there and scoop out the sloppy Joes.
Earn your keep, Oliver.
Yeah, earn your keep. That's probably what it is down there. Good Lord. Or maybe they just forced them to do it in the history of this tradition of the South. So let's see here. 4-year diploma in here is about half the average. I think people run screaming from here. Plus, there's cities, 3 hours that way, half hour that way. They're like, I'm going somewhere where I can get a different kind of a job, not picking watermelons.
I'm worried about what happened to the lunch lady. Where the hell did she end up going?
I don't know. I feel bad for the lunch lady. I feel like the lunch lady is now looking for those social services that we talked so much about earlier.
She's our first victim in this story.
She really is. She's our first victim. Poor lunch lady Doris. Is that The Simpsons? Lunch lady Doris? Yeah, well, we'll call her Doris then. Let's just call her Doris in honor of The Simpsons. Poor Doris. Everybody give a moment of silence for Doris, the lunch lady who can no longer afford.
And her job.
And her job, exactly. She can no longer afford scratcher tickets, which I figured Doris really, she's scratching a lot.
She's scratching it up. She's got the flakes on her chest.
Yes, absolutely. Now, before we get into the crime, if you go to there, if you're in Monticello, Florida, and you need something to do, things to do in Monticello, we have a lot of them. There's farmers markets, historical buildings made. All of these haunted old plantation houses are now bed and breakfasts. So you can sit in, the lap of luxury after you've gone to one of their local vineyards and sit there and bask in the horrors of the past. Why not? Also, too, they have 42 19th century buildings within 27 blocks.
Wow.
So it's a very historical area.
42 of them?
42 19th century buildings within the 27 blocks. It's called the Monticello Historic District. It's a great thing. And also, too, now, Monticello Opera House. Don't look for that. They got, now, if you're at the Monticello Opera House, outside the Monticello Opera House, on June 27th is the annual Monticello Watermelon Festival.
Oh, God.
That's what they're into.
Watch out for that.
Complete with a seed spitting contest.
Of course there is.
It absolutely is.
And you can also volunteer as a lunch lady in your spare time if you have time.
Somebody. God, there's some poor mother like, I'll do it. Fine. Some lady volunteering.
I want to do a live show at that fucking opera house.
I do, too. I have a feeling they'd kill us after this, though. We'd get lynched. We get lynched and our ghost would be haunting the prison after that. We don't need that. I don't want my soul to stay in Florida ever.
We got to hire union employees to run the fucking opera house too.
By the way, we make fun of Florida, but we live in Arizona, which if you hear crazy shit, you go, is that Florida or Arizona?
Right.
Which one is that?
Believe me. We're West Florida.
Fine.
That's what we
are.
All
it is. That's all it is.
Minus a beach.
Now, let's get into the crime here, which is our forte, and then we get into the crime that happened. The crime rates down there. Property crime, burglary, larceny, theft is right about U.S. average for any town. Now, the violent crime rate, murder, rape, robbery, assault, is more than twice the average rate. More than twice.
Those old people are horny.
Yeah, there's a lot of poor people, and also, too, the I-10 being right there doesn't help either. So you literally have people like, fighting out drug wars on the I-10 type of thing right there. So that's not helping their whole cause either, because the I-10, if you're not from the U.S., like I said, it goes from the West Coast to the East Coast, all across the south part of the country. Right. So if you want to take drugs from coast to coast, just stay on one road. There you go. You got it. So it's pretty interesting here.
Doris is out there taking out her vengeance, too, raping and murdering people for losing her job.
She is. She's pissed. She's fucking pissed.
Poor Doris. We're clobbering Doris.
She hung up her plastic gloves, and she's like, last time I'm going to be here.
These plastic gloves are going to come in handy. I'm going to go strangle people.
I'm going to So September 14th, 1993, this is what we're leading up to. Okay. September 14th, 1993, a man named Gary Colley is in town. Okay. He's a 34-year-old truck driver from Willesden, Bradford, in West Yorkshire, England.
Ooh.
Okay, he's visiting. He's there.
That sounds beautiful.
That sounds nice. Yeah. I don't know if it is, but it sounds picturesque, doesn't it? It does. UK people, tell us if that's beautiful, because
sounds amazing.
Wonderful. I didn't look up pictures. I don't know. He's here with his girlfriend, Margaret Jagger. They're visiting Florida on vacation. First of all, the UK sounds like a wonderful place because a truck driver can afford to travel to another continent for a vacation.
Right.
That's pretty goddamn nice.
Yeah.
If you're a truck driver here, you're not hopping oceans for shit. No. Nothing. You're like, we're going to Panama City for vacation. That's where we're going. We're not going there.
That's so funny. My dad is white trash, and he's a trucker. And he can't. No, he's not going.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going to another country for vacation. He's not going to South Africa.
Maybe
to vacation.
Mexico.
Right, yeah.
You can wander down there, but nothing that's not attached to us.
A 4-hour drive south. That's it.
Nothing that's not attached to us by Earth.
He's not even going to Canada.
No, that's far. It's all the way the hell up there. So the couple, basically, they have a rental car. They're here on vacation. I don't know. They're touring. I don't know what they did, if they went to Disneyland and decided to tour around. I don't know what the hell you're doing as a tourist in the Panhandle, unless they probably heard there's a lot of historic stuff around here. Right. Maybe, I'll go check that out, because if you're from another country, you want to see the history in somewhere.
Of course.
If I go to Europe, I want to show me your oldest shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Show me the parliament. Show me one of those guys that doesn't move.
Got anything Hitler didn't blow up? I'd like to see it. You know what I mean? I'd like to check it out.
Can you show me a shell you were going to use to blow him up?
Yes,
I'd like to see that
too. Any tanks or anything like that? So they stop on the I-10. It's a little after midnight. They stop on the I-10 and they decide to take a rest. Yeah. It's a rest stop.
Of course.
In America, I don't know if you're from overseas, we have along the road every few miles, we have a rest stop where they have a bathroom and, people jerk each other off in the woods, basically.
That's what happens.
That's what happens at rest stops. They sell each other meth.
Right. It's every about 400 or 500 miles. And it's a place where
less than that usually.
Is it? Yeah,
because
maybe it's like 300. It's about a gas tank.
It depends on where you are, honestly. Because there's some places where there are more if you're out further in the middle of Texas.
But that's what it's for. So you can stop and pee or get it handy.
That's it. That's what they're there for. So they're there. They're resting.
Yeah.
They fall asleep in the rest stop.
Yeah.
They think
people
it's
do
fun.
that too.
People do that all the time. They pull in. They're tired. They're like, rather than crash in the side of the road, I'll just take a little quick nap here, half hour, and we'll be good. So sounds nice. There's a lot of truckers, a lot of action, a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
They think it's safe. It's fine. Okay. So they're resting. A little after midnight, 2 men come up on either side of the windows. One on the passenger, one on the driver, and they knock on the windows. They were trying to rob the couple.
Right.
So welcome to America.
There you go.
This is what you get. Sorry. It's, you come to Florida, you get robbed. Sorry, guys. Or anywhere else for that matter. Now, the driver, Colley, who's Gary Colley, he's the truck driver. He tries to back up, but runs into another car that had pulled in behind them.
Oh, God.
So now they're trapped. Both of the men on the outside open fire on the car.
Oh shit!
They start shooting at the car. They riddle Collie with bullets. They hit Margaret Jagger as well. A fatal shot hits Collie in the neck and goes into his chest cavity and kills him. So this guy comes all the way from England.
Yeah.
He's driving a goddamn truck, saving up for a nice vacation. Right. Says, we're going to go to Florida. We'll go to America. It's here. That's the other thing too. I could see someone coming from England because they say sunny Florida.
Right.
In England, the one thing they do not have is fucking sun.
There's no sun.
So they're like, sunny Florida. That sounds good. We'll drive around and rent a car. This will be great. We'll have an American adventure.
Mickey Mouse is there. What
Mickey
could go
Mouse.
wrong?
It's beautiful. Fucking Mickey Mouse robbed him blind and shot him dead. So this is very sad. We're laughing, but it's sad shit.
Mickey Mouse robbed
him blind. No word on whether the assailants had a Mickey Mouse head on. I'm not sure about that. It's possible. Could have been someone from the
other
park.
side.
Yes. So Collie is killed. Right there. Jagger survives though. She survives her wounds. She's tough. She drags herself across the parking lot.
Girl.
No cell phones back then. We're 1993.
Right.
So you want to make a call, you have to drag yourself to a payphone.
She's got a pager.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it probably doesn't work on this side of the pond either. She's like,
shit. Outgoing, that's for sure.
No, so she drags herself to a payphone and calls for help at the rest stop. First of all, no one see this poor woman bloody, shot,
where the
dragging
hell is
herself
everybody?
to a payphone. Nobody sees her. So I don't know if they were kind of in a corner. Right. They probably went in a darker place to rest. I have no idea.
Not be bothered.
Absolutely. So it's really messed up too. There's bloody fingerprints left on the phone. It's one of those things, So she calls. She ends up surviving. They take her to the hospital, which is terrific. This is the 9th killing of a tourist in Florida in the last year.
Holy shit.
People are freaking the fuck out.
I can
in Florida.
imagine.
They're losing their mind because Florida's number one thing that they have is tourism.
Yeah.
That is their number one industry. It's a $30 billion a year industry at this point.
My God.
In 1993.
$30 billion.
$30 billion. That is the lifeblood of the state.
Yeah.
Now, if people think if I go to Florida, I might get killed, they're not going to go to Florida.
Right.
They'll go somewhere else with their vacation dollars.
Take my $30 billion over to fucking
I'll go to
Georgia.
Six Flags. You know what I mean? I'll go to Six Flags instead
Go
of Disneyland.
anywhere else.
Anywhere where
I'll go to Kansas or New Mexico.
Where chances are I won't be killed in a rest stop. So this is a big deal. It's bad for publicity, damage control time, basically. They're like, what the fuck do we do? So they end up enacting a whole bunch of things that we'll talk about to try to make it look safer, I guess, to people and look like they're doing something. So at this point, they end up through some informants and through some pretty decent police work finding these people. They end up finding 4 teenagers and arrest them. They are Cedric Green, who is 13 years old.
What?
13 years old. He's charged with murder and attempted murder. They're all going to be charged with murder and attempted murder. They're being held for that at this point. They're not charged yet. Duran Spear, who is 16 years old, and Cedric's half-brother. So these two go together, and they'll go together later also. Andra Akins, who is 14 at the time.
That's a girl.
No, that's a boy.
That's a boy?
That's a boy.
Andra?
Andra Akins, 14 years old. So we have 13, 16, 14.
14.
Unreal. And John Crumiti. Crumiti. I don't know how you say this. A news broadcast said it 3 different ways. So we're going to call him Crumiti.
Okay.
Crumiti. Let's call him Crumiti.
Crumiti, because that sounds more friendly.
He goes by Billy Joe. So we're going to call him Billy Joe from now on. Billy Joe. I never heard of a black guy named Billy Joe either. That's a weird one. It's very strange.
Terribly hillbilly white name.
That's a hillbilly name.
Right.
These are 4 black teenagers, though.
They just Bobby Wayne.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, 4 black teenagers have just killed a very white British tourist in Florida, and it doesn't look good. And, and it's a bad thing because this is when race stuff starts to spark up.
Barely teens.
Barely teens.
Barely.
And some people are mad at this fact. I don't know what it is with the kids, but 3 of the kids, Akins, Spear, and Green, they're all not from this area. Okay. Billy Joe is a local. Okay. He's a local. The other 3 were from Tallahassee and were brought into Monticello as a program that helped kids grow up in better environments.
Wow.
And then this happens, and it's bad. So the people are pissed off down there, which, I mean, Jesus, 98% of the kids don't go shoot tourists, and it probably helps their lives. So I'm not saying that this is but it is what it is, you know, so people are a little freaked out about the whole thing, obviously.
The thing that people fear is that these kids will act out, and that's what these kids did.
Yeah, and that's what they did, and it's sad here. So September 17th, 1993, so this is 3 days later, Billy Joe's cousin, Thad Crumiti, is questioned by police. I never heard of a black guy named Thad either. That's a new one for me.
I think I've heard of a couple.
Really?
I feel like I have.
Jesus, you must. That's wow.
I run in some tight circles with some cool people.
Yeah, you do. A lot of Thads. A lot of Thads in those circles.
A lot of gangster
Thads. You know. They take him in and they question him about the whole thing because he's said to have some knowledge about this. They strap him up to a polygraph test, an actual one, not a copy machine.
No copy machine.
Not a copy machine. He says yes to the question of whether whether Billy Joe told him that he and Andre Akins shot Collie and Jagger. Mm-hmm. He answered no to whether he, Thad, who was being interviewed, was present at the shooting. Both of these answers are deceptive, police say. So that's a problem right away. That's an issue. They're like, okay, what's going on? Now they don't know what's up. Investigators ask him about the lies, and Thad says that, quote, he did not quote, did not believe that John had the intestinal fortitude to do such a deed.
Okay.
First of all, he used a Gorilla Monsoon wrestling term, intestinal fortitude. Have you ever heard the word intestinal fortitude
No,
used
the only time I've ever heard of that is like in a doctor's office.
The only time I've heard of it is like 1989 WWE wrestling when Gorilla Monsoon would be like, the intestinal fortitude, he's coming back. It was, Hulk Hogan as he was getting beat down by a fat guy had intestinal fortitude. That's it. So investigators decide to believe him, saying that he failed the polygraph but appeared to have satisfactorily explained his problems with the questions. Okay. So basically he said, I said that he shot him because that's what I heard, but it came out a lie because I don't think in my heart that he could have actually done it, which sounds like full of shit, but it also could be true. I don't know how that
sounds
works.
To me like somebody's trying to explain away his answers, though.
That's the other thing, too. I love that, too. A polygraph, if you do something, they bring you in. Normally, you can't explain away your deceptive answers. Like, no, we thought he was lying, but he's fine. They just go, no, he's lying. Fuck him.
Oh, that makes sense why my machine's off. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Okay, fine. Yeah,
we'll
I get
go
it
forward now.
So just to make sure, we're good now. Yeah. So just to make sure, police have Thad wear a wire and question Billy Joe Crumity about the murder.
All right.
Which is interesting. Now, September 30th, with all of this done, Thad signs a sworn statement that John admitted that he and Andre Akins shot Collie and Jagger.
Okay.
So he signs that, and we have some tape on it later that we'll talk about here. Okay. Now, defense attorneys at this time are saying that Thad should be a suspect.
Yeah,
he blew the question of whether he was there or not, and then also blew the one about whether his cousin shot it. So it sounds like he was there, and the guy he says shot him didn't shoot him. That's what it sounds like from his lie detector.
So it sounds like to me, too, but...
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. In the statement, Thad said that he had drove 3 of the suspects to steal a car earlier in the evening, but he denied being there for the shooting. He was just like, I helped him steal a car, but then I went home, basically, is what he's saying.
I have my preconceived notions right now about what's going on.
What's happening.
I'm going to let it unravel, but I'm getting real fucking mad is what I'm getting.
Well, this is a frustrating case. It really is, because you can never know what happened, but it's really difficult. We'll get into this here. October 22nd, 1993, about 3 weeks later after the statement, all 4 teens are officially charged as adults with first-degree murder and second-degree attempted murder. They believe Akins fired the shots that hit Jagger, and they believe Billy Joe killed Collie.
Okay.
That's their thought on this. Mike Schneider, who's an assistant state attorney, said, quote, in terms of where we end up, that may mean we actually seek the death penalty against the shooters.
Wow.
So they're talking about going for the death penalty against a 14 and a 16-year-old.
Kids, man.
I don't ever believe in that, honestly.
No.
Because I was a jerk-off when I was 14. I didn't kill anybody, thankfully, but if I had to be held responsible now for every dumb thing I did when I was 14,
forget it.
I'd be fucked forever.
I'd be in prison forever.
That's what I mean. So it's not great, but they hold these 4 without bond, and Florida's not fucking around. They had already executed 3 people in that year of 93.
Wow.
So they got the electric chair working down there. They did not screw around.
No.
So if you were up for the death penalty, that was some serious shit.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, they weren't just holding that up as a maybe at that point. So several witnesses, mostly Thad, told police that Spears, Akins, and Crumity had told people around the housing projects they lived in that they needed to steal a car to, quote, go on a mission later that night. Okay, that was the afternoon. Go on a mission. I don't know what mission you're going on. To kill British tourists, apparently.
Yeah.
We're going on a mission. I guess that was to sound cool. We're going on a mission. We got to steal a car. We got to go on a mission. Do they think they were doing something exciting? Are they getting like foreign secrets? What are they doing? No, they're going out to try to rob a tourist.
Thinks he's a guy from True Lies. He's going to go get Jamie Lee Curtis because he's on a mission.
Exactly, on a mission.
Yeah.
Later that afternoon, they return with a 1990 Pontiac Bonneville that fits the description of the vehicle in the attack.
Okay.
So this is when they pick up Cedric Green, the 13-year-old. They come back to the projects. Hey, look at our car.
Yeah.
They grab their, dude's little brother, hop in, they go take off.
Here we go.
Let's do it. So several hours after
Off
the
to
shooting.
the mission.
Got a mission to go on. Grab the 13-year-old.
They play Mission Impossible's theme song the whole way.
You got a mission. A 13-year-old is they alternate between that and the Shaft theme song, which just makes everyone feel cool. You know what I mean? Just makes everyone feel cool.
Shaft is a pretty bitchin'
theme song. That's once again, in The Wire, they would jump in. They used to do this back in Baltimore. The homicide book they talk about, they would drive down the street to the detectives with the Shaft soundtrack blaring.
That's hilarious.
Because it was fun, basically.
It's cool, man.
It is cool.
It's great.
Witnesses say several hours after the shooting, Speer and Akins went to Speer's 16-year-old girlfriend's house and dropped off a .22 and a .38 caliber revolver.
Uh-oh.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's not great. They later returned and retrieved the guns. The guns were never found by anybody, by the police. Also, Thad said that he overheard Billy Joe and Speer and Akins discussing the crime with Billy Joe's mother and stepfather.
What?
They're discussing the crime at home.
That's with their parents.
I didn't want to tell my parents if I had a shit report card coming. I'm not going to tell them, oh, yeah, by the way, we just shot a couple people while we tried to rob them at a rest stop.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable.
My mom questioned me about sticky socks and stuff, and I lied about that. Forget about this.
No, this is
crazy.
Well, my socks, you know what happened there, but I also shot a guy.
Right.
Like, what is going on here?
I'm pretty sure she already knew what was going on in the laundry.
So Duran Speer told the group, quote, nobody's got to worry. We ain't going to get caught. That's what he's telling them. Chill the fuck out, basically. He's doing like the Obama meme. Chill the fuck out. I got this shit. It's one of those. So he claims that Billy Joe and his mother, at this point, Thad claims this, Billy Joe and his mother burned the clothes and shoes that he was wearing that night during the crime. Wow. So that's...
And mom's now an accomplice after the fact, brother.
I guess, yeah, if they believe that. Yeah. Now, they were heard telling others about the crime, too, around the projects. They were bragging.
Jesus.
I guess that's
what 13-year-olds do,
That's what I mean. These are kids. They can't do anything and not say anything about it. You know what I mean? If they robbed a bank, they couldn't just shut the fuck up and have $10 million.
Especially if it makes
$10 million.
Right. Especially if everybody else in the neighborhood is going to be scared of them or
think they're cool.
Right.
They went on a mission. They had to tell everyone what the mission was. This is the mission. We got this. Great. And they got no money or anything. The completely bungled robbery. They got not a dime out of these people.
They killed people.
They killed people and ran away. It was as stupid as you can get. So also, too, there's that tape conversation from Thad. There it is on tape, Billy Joe saying, quote, I shot her 2 times.
Oh, boy.
So that's not great for Billy Joe. Now, that's pretty incriminating to have your voice on tape. Now, also, too, if Thad was there, I could see if he was bragging to someone outside the group that he did it and he didn't do it really. But if Thad, we thought Thad was there.
Right.
So now we definitely don't think Thad was there because he's talking.
Exactly. He's getting a story out of him. And he's telling him how many times he shot her.
He's not like, you saw me, asshole. Yeah,
if he was there, then he would have known.
Yeah. Hey, dickhead, you were there. Right. You saw how many times I shot her.
What do you mean how many times I shoot her?
Yeah. So now...
You heard how many times it went off.
Yeah. Now, at this point, Thad was out on probation or out on parole. But they put him back away because he said he still helped them steal a car. So in December, he's returned to prison on a parole violation.
Thanks for your help.
Thanks a lot. To finish out a 7-year robbery sentence. He should have made a deal.
Shit, yeah.
If you're going to put on, recording devices and all this shit, you better have a deal in place.
You better don't put batteries in this shit till you tell me this shit's over.
Attorney.
I do this and we're good, right?
Yeah, exactly. Jefferson County Sheriff Ken Fortune said, quote, we have a good little community here. 3 summers ago, the Ku Klux Klan came to town and tried to recruit, but it didn't take long for them to realize they had come to the wrong place. So they're saying, look, we get along racially. Right. Black on white crime doesn't fucking matter. Right. We're gonna sort this out. We're a town, and there's literally like a bunch of quotes of people like, "Look, we don't fucking play that shit here. Right. Racism, we don't play race shit here. It's we've been all together for too long, and it's like 50-50 too. So that's where there's no.
But here's the thing: why'd they come there? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the KKK is not coming here.
No,
they're not coming here and openly asking people to join.
Well, they said there's a small town of watermelon picking fame. Let's go
there.
Them.
Yeah. Throw your sheets on. Let's go get some friends.
Let's go. Come on. Let's go grab. I'm in the mood for some watermelon anyway. So let's just head on down there. If nothing else happens, we got a refreshing watermelon. Right? It's fine. So now after this, Green and Speer, the 2 half brothers, 13 and 16, they plead guilty to Green pleads guilty to accessory to murder before and after the fact.
Wow.
And he's sentenced to a juvenile offender program in South Florida. It's a juvenile community control program. It's basically house arrest and probation.
Okay.
No jail. for this kid at all.
What a terrible, terrible deal.
No, but he's 13 too, so it's like, what do you do with that anyway? They send him down to South Florida to put him in a program. We'll find out if it works, okay? Because I have some info on that. Spear pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit armed robbery and conspiracy after the fact to the murder and receives 8 years in prison for that, okay?
Now he's 16.
He's 16 years old. Now, September 14th, Billy Joe is offered a plea deal similar to other people's that we're going to get to in a second, similar to Aikens, which we'll find out in a moment here. On the eve of the trial, they offer him a plea deal. Deal is to plead guilty to second-degree murder. He would serve 15 years, and he's been in for 2 years already. So he's already got 2 years' time served. They're looking at him being out in 8 with good behavior, basically, if he takes this deal. He turns it down.
Oh, God.
They have him on tape saying he shot people. There's murder in the air.
What is he doing?
He turns it down. Could have been out in 8 years. He turns it down. His attorney is shocked. And when the press asks him, he just says, it was John's decision. It was all him. Like, I don't know.
I didn't do that.
Not me.
Don't ruin my career over this shit.
I would have said,
I'd like to try another case someday.
I begged him to take this fucking deal. You have no idea. Now, in the first trial, Donald Spivey, who's a rest stop worker, IDs John as a shooter, Billy Joe.
All right.
He IDs him. Also, his cousin Thad gives testimony. A couple of people from around the neighborhood give testimony that they heard him bragging. Margaret Jagger testifies. She comes all the way from England back to testify.
Oh, she's got stones.
She keeps coming back.
Dig it.
She says of the rest stop, quote, it seemed okay. There were a lot of people there with cars. They're like, well, in England, you don't get shot if there's a bunch of people around. But here, apparently, no big deal. There is zero physical evidence.
Nothing.
They don't have the guns.
Not a bullet shell?
Nothing with his...
Oh, they were revolvers.
Yeah, nothing. His, I think the one was a semi-auto, but there's nothing that ties him to it. No fingerprint, nothing. So
and there's no gun to match it anyway. It's
no gun to match it.
Just a bullet shell.
Yeah, it's just all circumstantial. Now, November 17th, 1994 is decision day for the jury, verdict day. They deliberate for 6 hours. And then they report to the judge that they are hopelessly deadlocked. Later on, we find out the final count was 11-1 for guilty. 11-1. During deliberations, jurors were heard yelling and arguing mainly about the physical evidence and lack thereof.
Yep.
Also argued about the ID from the rest stop worker, Donald Spivey. Okay, so that day, Judge F.E. Steinmeier declares a mistrial in the case. Doesn't tell him, go back and try again. You've been in there for less than a work day. Give it another shot, guys. The prosecutor, Assistant State DA Mike Schneider, who we talked about before, he declined comment because he was pissed.
Of course.
Defense attorney Mina Morgan said that Billy Joe was upset because, quote, he was hoping it would be over today. So,
sorry.
Yeah, you're hoping he'd be sent away for life to prison today. Margaret Jagger was there. Also, Billy Joe's mom, Susie Mae Johnson, was there. And that sounds like a Florida name.
You betcha.
Both of them declined comment, and Jagger was crying afterwards, which if you make a British chick cry, you have done some shit.
You've done something.
Because they don't cry for shit.
No, and then
Brits.
They write amazing songs about you and win Grammys.
Yes. Now, it is revealed after the proceeding that, because the jury's secret before you don't know who they are, after this all lets out, that one of the, this is why small towns are rough for this shit. This is why people always say, why do you make fun of the town? This is why we make fun of small towns, for this reason. One of the jurors was a former classmate of Billy Joe in high school.
How did that person get on the fucking jury?
Oh, that's not the worst part. Another was a former teacher of his.
What
a fucking teacher.
Fuck?
So they see him as a child that you tried to help at some point.
Yeah.
It's there to, you can't have that.
No.
Didn't they say, do you know this fucking guy?
Have you ever seen that man in your life?
Did you teach him geometry by any chance? Not that he
You happen to cheat off him? Did he cheat off
Jesus
you? Then you're out. You're fucking
man.
out.
Unbelievable.
That's so unfair.
I can't even believe that happened. This is what I mean. This doesn't happen in, San Francisco or somewhere. Chicago, they don't go, oh yeah, my brother was on the jury. That shit doesn't happen.
They took that jury of your own peers shit way too serious.
I would say. Apparently, it was the forewoman who would not bend to guilty because there was lack of physical evidence. She said, and she wasn't going to give in. So whatever, good for her. It's her choice. She's the jury. On the jury. Now, January 24th, 1995, now 16-year-old Andra Aikens pleads guilty to second-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder. So that's not much of a deal. This is to avoid the death penalty. It's on the eve of his trial, too. The deal was struck, it was struck an hour before jury selection was about to begin. So he was like, okay, never mind, sure. Fuck it, I'll take the deal. Gary Colley's brother, Stephen, the victim's brother, said that he was happier that with this deal that Aikens will get life rather than the death penalty. The life sentence is about 27 years is what it basically breaks down to.
Okay.
Stephen Colley, the brother, said, quote, I really didn't want the electric chair for him anyway. I would rather he just rot in jail forever. If he died now, it would be all over for him. He doesn't deserve that. So that makes sense. Yeah. I'd rather see him suffer. But
27 years and then he gets a chance at parole, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there I think you got to serve, what is it, 2/3 of your sentence, I believe, down there. It's a lot, 80% of your sentence in Florida is how they work it. Now, Margaret Jagger was also in court for this plea, so she's basically moving to the panhandle for this shit. She keeps coming back.
Reliving her fucking nightmare every time.
And that's what she says, too. Every time, this is a nightmare for me. Akins is expected to now be a witness in the next Billy Joe Crumity trial because that's part of his deal. He's got to testify. So March 1st, 1995 is the pretrial for trial number 2 for Billy Joe. The judge approves a change of venue. Let's get out of this small town. Let's get out of here. Too much publicity with the first trial and everything. And, we don't want to get another one of his teachers in here. Yeah. So let's do that. They move it to Gainesville.
No.
So Gainesville,
that's
half hour
not
away.
good.
Yeah, so not half hour, a little farther away. Now, Donald Spivey, the rest stop worker who ID'd Billy Joe on the first one, he testifies that he saw Billy Joe there. Andre Akins testified that this time as part of his deal, like I said, he says in his testimony, quote, Billy Joe, he says, Billy Joe was to the driver's side and I was on the passenger side. And we knocked on the window and told him to give it up. And then Duran drove the car behind them people's car. And then they cranked it up and tried to drive off. And when they hit the car, both of us started shooting. So he tells the story. So it sounds like they panicked. Yeah. He hit the car. They didn't know what to do. They just started firing, so they didn't drive off. It sounds like one guy fired, the other one's like, oh, fuck, and they both fired. And they're idiot kids. That's why kids shouldn't be running around trying to rob people with guns. This is ridiculous. Also, too, Duran Spear testified that he was the getaway car driver, like Akins had said. The defense's first witness that they call, Margaret Jagger.
What?
They call Margaret Jagger because she could not identify Billy Joe. Because she was sleeping, was awoken by shit. Things happen, flashes a gun in the dark. She never saw the kid.
She's awoken by a fucking car speeding in reverse.
She never
saw
him.
What are you doing, asshole? I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, they get her on, and they're like, do you see the guy? And she says no, so they think of that as a win. Right. The only other witness was Billy Joe himself. Again, he also testified in the first trial. He gets up there, he goes,
a stand.
I was home sleeping. That's all he says. I was home sleeping. I don't know. I was home sleeping. That's his whole thing. He claims he was home sleeping. He says he was home with his, quote, auntie, as he puts it. And he says that also, too, his 13 and 14-year-old little sisters were there. He said that his bedtime was 10 or 10:30. I love how they're trying to make him sound like a child, which he is 16, so it's like whatever. But they're trying to make him sound younger. Like, I was just there with my sisters and my auntie. My bedtime's at 10. But, he said his sister's bedtime.
A hot toddy.
And, know how it goes. His sister's bedtimes were at 9, so they weren't awake later to see him there. He said his mom left around 8, and he was asleep when she got home. So she must have been out very late, she says. And he said he went to school the next day. So he's like, I don't know what anybody's talking about. I was just hanging out at home. Mom was out. I hung out and went to bed, and that was that. End of story. I don't know what happened out there.
The next day, and those people went and killed people, I guess.
I don't know.
I guess that's the story. I'm not a cop. You guys figure it out.
Who knows what goes on?
I hate him.
It's crazy. So he claims he couldn't have shot anyone because he, quote, never owned a weapon. So how could he shoot anybody? Okay. He claims that Akins and Spear are lying and conspiring to, quote, get him.
But why? I mean, there's your hole in your story, sir. Give us a why.
Other than to pin the extra thing, I have no other than to save face.
They want a friend in prison? What the fuck?
Other than prosecutors saving face to make sure that these guys testify against, so they get all 4 that they arrested, so the paper doesn't say they let one get away. That's the only thing I can think of that the lawyer is telling him to say this for.
That's silly.
Because this is what a lawyer would say.
Right.
In closing, the defense said that there is zero physical evidence, again, that ties Billy Joe to the crime, and that the witnesses were all tainted because they testified for selfish reasons. Which, whatever. I mean, they do, but that's how you get convictions.
It's a really shitty thing to say about somebody that got shot, though. You know what I mean? Like, she's only here testifying.
No, not her. The other ones. The co-defendants.
Okay, all right.
Co-conspirator or whatever. Not Margaret Jagger. She's not here she's here because she got,
If I'm her, I'd clear a table and knock him out. And she's down for it, too.
Oh, definitely.
She's an angry Brit that's been crying.
You bet your ass. So March 25th, 1995, the jury, it's verdict day. Jury deliberates for 7 hours, and they come to the judge and say, we're hopelessly deadlocked.
God damn it!
Again, count was 9-3 in favor of guilty this time. Okay. Judge F.E. Steinmeier again declared a mistrial. Again, say one more day. Get your asses back in there. A juror, Gloria Rozier, said, quote, I need more physical evidence, a hair, a fiber, something. Nobody put him there for me. Okay. Which I could see that. If you're going to put a child in jail for life, you want to have something that's not just 2 criminal assholes saying that it was him. Okay. I get that. Fine. Judge orders Billy Joe to be held in custody. I'm not going to let him go. State Attorney William Meggs said that he will retry the case. Defense Attorney Mina Morgan said, quote, there comes a time when enough hung juries raises a reasonable doubt. Well, by my count, you're down 20-4 in jury so far. You're down 11-1 and 9-3.
You're not doing so great.
No, you're down 20-4. Right. It's past halftime. You better get your shit together.
You're just lucky in the Constitution. You have to have all 12.
Margaret Jagger got up her Britishness and has showed no emotion and declined comment. Now, 1995, the tourism industry is suffering like crazy. Suffered a 20% decline between 93 and 95. That's what we're talking about based on these tourism numbers. That's all it was out there. City can't replace, they're broke from these trials, too. Yeah. They're not used to having long, drawn-out press murder trials.
That end in hung juries.
Yes. They cannot replace the 25-year-old fire truck that they need to replace because it doesn't work right anymore. Also, too, they're desperately in need of 2 new ambulances because they don't have enough ambulances and they can't buy them.
Jesus.
Also, they cut the library budget by 20% because of the cost of the murder case, and poor Doris the lunch lady, as we know of, is already a casualty. The city asked the state to reimburse the $750,000 in court costs for them, and the state gave them about $300,000.
That's nice of them.
So that's nice, but it isn't cutting shit.
No.
Now, Jefferson County Sheriff Ken Fortune, who we talked to before, said, quote, we wondered how this could happen in such a small county like this. For a while, we had so much media in town that people couldn't lead their lives. It really shook people up. Now we've had enough of international publicity. We want to move on to our normal routines, get up, go to work, take care of our families. Well, no shit.
Yeah.
County Clerk of Courts Eleanor Hawkins said, quote, we don't deserve to be known as the headquarters for crime. I think everyone is real anxious to get this over with. Let's just push this shit under the rug. They really want it. Now, third trial, September 1995. This one's going to be in Pensacola. 3 hours away they're going.
All right.
This jury consists of 7 white women, 2 white men, a black man, a black woman, and an Asian woman. They found one in the county out there in Pensacola. Yeah. Defense lawyer Dwight Wells files a motion to challenge the jury pool because they get a pool of 50 jurors to pick from.
Yeah.
This jury pool only had 5 of 50 people that were black. That county, Escambia County, is 20% black. So there should have been 10 jurors to be representative of it. The judge rejects the motion based on the fact that they said that blacks were not systematically excluded. It was just kind of random how it worked out. So that's dismissed there. Both Akins and Spear testify against Billy Joe again. They tell the roles in the crime, same thing as the second one. Billy Joe testifies again, saying he was home asleep. Rest stop worker Donald Spivey testifies again. Exact same trial, basically. They introduce, though, one thing. For the first time, they introduce a police composite sketch made by Spivey at the time of the murder that resembles Billy Joe.
Okay.
At first, they said the defense was saying the first time he's ID'd Billy Joe was here in court. So he doesn't know shit. It's later. They tried to pull that. And they said, no, here's a sketch from before. I don't know why they didn't introduce that earlier.
Yeah, you'd think that would be like their first fucking thing.
You would imagine. Lost in a file. I don't know. So defense attorney Wells here says that the ID is flawed because Billy Joe's hair is now close cropped and he was not wearing a hat like the attackers were wearing hats.
Okay.
Which, whatever. Shooter described by Spivey had dreads and a ball cap on, but at the time Billy Joe had dreads. Yeah. So what are you going to do? Jagger is called again. Can ID Billy Joe again? They knew that. That's why they keep calling her. After jury instructions, a juror falls ill and is dismissed. So they put an alternate in place. Okay. That juror was found to have talked to reporters.
Oh, Jesus,
so she's disqualified. Another alternate is put in place. Finally, September 16th, 1995 is verdict day. 3 hours of deliberation. Finally, he's convicted of second-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder and attempted armed robbery. He'll be sentenced in November 95. Colley's mother, Brenda Armitage, who was the victim's mother, said, quote, that sounds very British, too, Brenda Armitage. She said, I'm relieved it's all over. The last 2 years have been very hard.
Oh, I'm sure.
Shit. Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
Lawyer for the defense, Dwight Wells, says that they will seek a new trial based on that jury pool being messed up.
Yeah.
Susie Mae Johnson, the mother of Billy Joe, had something a little different to say. She said, quote, it's horrible. It's horrible. This town ain't nothing but a damn redneck town, and Monticello is just the same. She's pissed.
Your redneck town that you live in dismissed it twice or hung jury fucking
should be thankful
mistrialed
those
it twice.
over there.
You should dig them.
So Mike Schneider, again, the state's attorney, said the witnesses were better this time. That was his. He said that they appeared more comfortable in a smaller courtroom, too. I guess the other ones were big, giant courtrooms, and this was a smaller size, and they said it made them more comfortable.
A little more intimate.
Yes.
Low ceilings.
Exactly. It's like a comedy club. A little 100-seater. I like that. So,
a little small stage.
You know, a little nice thing there. You feel backed up against the wall. So early 1996, Duran Speer is let out of prison after 2 years.
Wow.
2 years, Speer gets out with that deal. December 19th, 1999. Two men enter a Winn-Dixie Mart, which is like a convenience store in Panama City, Florida.
Oh, God.
At 4 a.m. while employees are mopping and waxing the floor.
That's the worst time to be there.
Oh, yeah. They rob the store at gunpoint. One man hits an elderly employee in the head with his gun.
Asshole.
Yes. They like he was going to stop you from robbing the Winn-Dixie, like he cares. They take the employees into the back room. Police say they got about $150 in postage stamps, which they were 33 cents a piece back then, so they got about 450 stamps out of the deal. And, quote, a substantial amount of currency. Two dudes selling stamps on the street. Can you imagine? Hey, man, I got some postage. I'll give it to you for 30.
Hangs out front of the post office. You mailing something?
You mailing shit? Rolls. I got this. So January...
I got the fucking freedom stamp. It's good every time.
So through a Crime Stopper tip, which is the tip line for this sort of thing, on January 24, 2000, Cedric Green and Duran Spears are charged with the robbery on December 17th. We remember them, the half brothers who got out with got out with a light sentence.
Yeah.
Green is fully cooperating with police, the younger one. Spear is also charged with aggravated battery and a felon possessing a firearm because he was the one who hit the old man with the gun. Police believe that they are responsible for at least 2 to 3 other robberies in the area, including one on December 23rd of another Winn-Dixie where two men, same thing, hood ski mess, robbed at gunpoint. Detective Sergeant Dan Bates said, quote, the similarities, the way they were done, there's no doubt in my mind they've done 2 or 3 others down here.
Bastards.
But proving it and charging them is something else.
Yeah.
So they end up proving about 3-4 of the robberies. And Green is sent to prison for 15 years.
Thank God.
The younger one. And Spear is given a life sentence.
Wow.
Well, he keeps robbing people.
Yeah.
He likes to have guns and rob
That's
people.
got to sting a little bit, though.
Absolutely. January 2004 is Billy Joe's appeal ruling. He appealed, obviously. He claims that his lawyer was ineffective in all 3 trials. No good. He said the attorney did not call the sleeping aunt to the stand that could have been his alibi. The lawyer, Dwight Wells, said, quote, I'm not sure I ever used the word alibi with Mr. Crumity the whole time of my representation. He said that never once did anyone in the family tell him that the aunt could have been an alibi. This was never mentioned until now, 10 years later. Billy Joe wants a new trial. Judge during this appeal. That's what he's going for based on this. Judge Ralph, quote, Bubba Smith, Judge Bubba, took only... why do we make fun of these towns?
He pops a Pabst when he makes a ruling.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That's his gavel. He took only minutes to rule that the attorney Wells had done his job properly and denied his appeal for a new trial. Fuck off.
Fuck off. Bye-bye.
2013, Cedric Green is released from prison.
What in the fuck?
Look out, Florida. This young man is out there.
Yeah.
He's a fun one.
Lock up your Winn-Dixies.
Yeah, everybody. We can be on the alert. Now, November 2012, U.S. Supreme Court ruled that juveniles cannot be sentenced to life for non-homicide crimes.
Okay.
This affects Audra Akins.
Yep.
This brings him up for a resentencing hearing because he was sentenced to 27 plus, which is life. His sentence is overturned by this ruling, obviously, from the U.S. Supreme Court. He has a resentencing hearing. They talk about it's in September of 2013. They talk about his disciplinary problems in jail. His lawyer said, well, he had no hope. He was here for life. Yeah. So when someone has hope, it's different.
He's got nothing to lose. He's going to be a dick.
He said since the ruling, he's gotten his high school diploma, he's taken commercial painting courses, and become religious. Jesus help us. So before the murder, he also had cases before the murder of grand theft, criminal mischief, and sexual battery by 14.
Wow.
So he was on the fucking fast.
Sexual battery
at 14.
Oh,
wow.
boy.
So during the resentencing, Jagger is back again for this. She keeps coming. This is 20 years later.
I love her to death.
It's almost to the day 20 years later, by the way. She said, quote, my sentence will never come to an end, which makes sense. Akins testified telling Jagger that he wasn't the kid he was in 1993 and that he hopes one day she can forgive him, which is sort of at least a manly thing to do, a little bit. Akins said, quote, I'm a Christian. I really want to get out and help other youth. Show them there's a better way than crime. You've never had a better way than crime.
You just negated your whole thing.
Ridiculous. Absolutely.
You just begged for forgiveness from your victim, and then you just told her, by the way, I'm religious.
I'm real religious.
And now I'm about to bullshit the hell out of you. So.
And his mother, Beatrice Brooks, said, quote, I understand what he did was wrong, but if God can forgive him, why can't man? I don't know. Gee, I wonder. Now, September 14th, same thing here. Jagger, like I said, is there. The judge gives Akins 40 years in prison.
Wow.
So he gets 40 years instead of life. With time served and good behavior, he will most likely be out in 2024. So
that's too close.
That's not too far
that's
away.
That's way too close.
Jagger tells reporters that she hopes Akins can stay out of trouble and have another kind of life when he gets out. Yeah. So she's actually being nice and trying, like, hey,
there's no life after that, though.
No.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It's so hard to get started again after you served that kind of life.
Unreal.
That kind of time in fucking prison.
Unreal. So everybody is sentenced. Now, for 2 years after the shooting, from 93 to 95, the state put armed guards at all the rest stops along the I-10.
Wow.
This ran out in 95 when the publicity died down, and they were like, well, our budget sucks, so let's shit-can those guys. It also introduced stronger penalties for juveniles, this whole thing. And there was a whole thing. So the 90s were like the put all the teenagers in prison forever decade. It really was. I was a teenager in the 90s. It was very frightening.
We're lucky to be free.
We're lucky to be free. We could have been in jail for anything.
And they pulled all the armed guards. I hope they got their fire trucks and ambulances.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah. Good God. So that is the case of poor Gary Colley and the Monticello, Florida. Wow, if you
what a town.
If you like what you hear here, if you like that story, please review us on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you're following instructions, whatever you want to do.
Thanks for being here.
Doesn't matter. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a lot of fun this week, I have to say here right away. If you really like us even more and you want to go above and beyond the iTunes review, which please, the iTunes review is fantastic, you can go on patreon.com/crimeinsports and you can throw us a little donation. That is our Crime and Sports is our other podcast, so you will kind of get it's all us. So whatever there. So please
help me
do
get
that.
James some health insurance.
Yes,
that's my plea to you.
That would be great. Also, too, you can follow us on social media at Small Town Pod on Facebook.
It's at Murder Small on
Facebook.
Twitter.
It's
okay.
Small Town Pod on Facebook. It's at Murder Small on Twitter. Right. So you can hit us up there. And we have a bunch of shout-outs from people who have done these great things like that. So if you want to do that real quick.
Some amazing people that donated to our Patreon. Kimberly Schlinky, I believe is it. Schlinky. That sounds right.
Well, thank you, Kimberly.
Carly Sandra, Rose Handley Fondale, Emily Zaleski, Lisa Gibson, Becky Hilton, Darla in L.A., Simone Vilmorin, Marisa Pfaff, or Pfaff. I think it's Pfaff. P-F-A-F-F. Pfaff. Kaylee in Seattle, Brown Eyed Blog in Milwaukee, The Kvetcher in Lincoln, Rhode Island, Alice Apple in Denver, Lowell Johnson in Norman, Oklahoma, and Esther in South Korea. Someone in South Korea is listening. That's fucking incredible. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been so much fun.
Really, thank you guys so much. Like we said, we appreciate the shit out of you guys. Thank you, guys. We're going to keep coming back every week. You want to give them your social media, Jimmy?
At Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Find me and interact. It's been fucking great.
Go ahead.
It's fun.
I'm at Jimmy P is funny. If you want to get adventurous and spell my last name, it's in the show description.
Get in there.
Friend me and say hello. But other than that, we will see you next week, guys. It's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.